Arg.
20 inches. 8 pounds, 10 ounces. 10:46 tonight. Syndactyly.
Oh, Dad, you've recovered.
5 days. 5 terrible days.
Easy, Dad. Don't overexcite yourself.
James. His name will be James, but no one will call him James. Or Jim. Everyone will call him Jimmy.
How do you know what we'll call him? Maddie and I never discussed this with anyone.
5 days. You've got to warn him. 5 terrible days. Write them down. Now.
Miss, I'll need a pen.
You better have something to write on.
1994. September 15th. A Thursday. Write it down. Warn him. Darn it, Rudy, warn him.
Warn who?
Jimmy, your son. Jimmy, my grandson.
He's not born yet.
Almost. 2 minutes. Warn him. 1998. January 19th. A Monday. Write it down.
1998.
January 19th. A Monday. Terrible day.
Why? Why is it a terrible day?
Terrible. Terrible.
Why will it be terrible?
2002. December 23rd. Another Monday.
Dad, this is weird. I don't understand.
Write it down.
I wrote it down. December 23rd, 2002, another Monday.
2003. The 26th of November. A Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. 2005. 2005. Oh no.
Dad, is something wrong?
What's going on here?
Don't trust the clown.
Dad, how do you know about the clown?
The 16th of April.
How do you know about the clown?
Write it down.
What day of the week?
Saturday. He isn't who you think he is.
Who isn't?
He isn't.
Who's he?
Now, Joseph, you know me very well. I'm Dr. Pickett.
Oh, the tragedy.
What tragedy?
No tragedy here. What I see is a remarkable recovery.
Kidneys.
Kidneys.
Why should kidneys be so important? It's absurd. It's all absurd.
Rudy Tock, your wife has experienced a crisis in labor and you need to rush over there immediately.
Konrad, Beezo.
Stay out of this, Rudy Tock. I have no quarrel with you. You're not an aerialist.
Dr. McDonald, you okay?
She died. during delivery. But it wasn't my fault.
Maddie.
Not Maddie. The clown's wife, Natalie. I had to treat Natalie when she was suddenly brought into labor. Maddie is alive. I'm so sorry. Rudy.
Blood on the sheets, but where's the child?
Where are you, dirtbags?
Even in death, Natalie Beezo, you still have such a complexion. How did you marry such a freak of nature as Konrad?
Where are they, Rudy Tock?
Where who?
Don't play dumb, there had to be other nurses, maybe another doctor. I want them all dead. All those who failed her.
They ran. They slipped out behind your back the way you came through the waiting room. They're gone. The police are on the way. They'll want to take the baby from you.
My son is mine. He will never be an aerialist like his mother before him, you hear? I will do anything to keep him from being raised by aerialists. He'll be the greatest of his kind. Clown, harlequin, jester, jack pudding. Yes, he'll be the greatest, he will. Punchinello Beezo, taking the name from the first and greatest of clowns, will be remembered as the son of Konrad Beezo, patriarch of clowns. I'll never forget you, Rudy Tock. Never.
After this, don't think you're ever going to touch me again.
Hey, there's been a shooting at the Snow Village maternity ward. The perpetrator was a clown, and he's killed 2 employees then left. My wife Madeleine Tock is gone and needs medical attention.
Where's my baby?
You don't know where it is.
How would I know? I passed out or something. And what do you mean someone was shot? Who was shot? Where's my baby?
Konrad Beezo was holding a baby in his arms when I came across him in the hallway. That must have been our son, not his. Their baby must have died along with the mother, and he took our child to have someone to raise.
Rudy Tock.
Oh yes, ma'am. Sorry about that.
I hid with your baby. I hid from that awful man. I knew he'd be trouble when he first showed up with his wife. Him wearing that ugly hat indoors and making no apology for it.
You indicated trouble because of the hat.
It's your child.
Little green eyes, James better have been worth all the pain or his life will be a living hell.
Nurse Coleman, how did you get him safe in all this chaos?
After Natalie Beezo died and Madeleine's child was born, I heard the angry arguments of Konrad Beezo against Dr. MacDonald. I, holding Madeleine's baby, wanted to hear him more closely, and so did Nurse Lois Hanson, who was holding the Beezo child, thinking the sight of him would soothe the mad clown. After I heard the gunshot that killed MacDonald, I ran to the maternity ward's internal hall, but Nurse Hanson didn't follow. 2 Krish nurses who were with the newborns there started to worry about the babies after hearing the gunshot, but I assured them he was only after the entire hospital staff, none of the babies. Nevertheless, each nurse took an infant and fretted about those they were forced to leave behind. A second shot, which was undoubtedly on Nurse Hanson, and we hid in a room where an elderly man slept on underwear. We huddled together until I heard sirens in the distance. From that second-story room I saw Beezo with his baby crossing the rain-washed blacktop, looking like a figure in the foul dream, scuttling and strange, like something you'd see when the world ends and the cracks opened in the foundations of the earth to let loose the angry legions of the damned. Beezo's parking spot was at such a distance that I couldn't identify the car, the make, the model, the color, none of it. Beezo drove off and I thought the police might intercept him before he reached the nearby country road, but no luck. With him gone, I made my way to this delivery room just as you were running out, Rudy.
Holy crap. For a minute there I thought that her child was stolen by that homicidal clown.
Here's the birth certificate.
20 inches. 8 pounds 10 ounces. 10:46 p.m. How did he guess all this?
Rudy, look, some of his toes are fused together.
Syndactyly.
It can be fixed. How do you know such a doctorish word?
Syndactyly. Oh, Jimmy, there's something your mother and I have been meaning to tell you about your grandpa Joseph before he died.
What?
I've already told you about how Mad Clown shot the doctor responsible for the birth of you, but we never told you about what else happened that night, about Grandpa Joseph before he died. On his deathbed, he gave me 10 predictions about you. Your birth certificate listed your height, weight, and minute of birth, all accurately predicted by Grandpa Joseph. He also predicted that you would be born with Syndactyly, and you were.
Syndactyly?
It's an abnormal fusing of your fingers or toes. We don't know why that happened. I wanted to forego the process of fixing it and call you Flipper, naming you after that dolphin that used to star in the delightfully, wonderfully, hilariously stupid show on TV.
And good thing we went with the surgery too, otherwise you'd have been stuck with that stupid name for 20 years. You know how every time you introduced yourself as James, even if you were very clear about it, everybody called you Jimmy?
They probably figured that James sounded too formal, and Jim was too earnest.
Whatever the reason, Grandpa Joseph predicted that too. But the most important predictions he made were his last 5 ones. We figured that just because the first 5 came true doesn't mean the last 5 will as well, but now we're starting to worry about tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Why? What's going to happen tomorrow?
Grandpa Joseph told me of 5 different dates that he referred to as terrible days.
Why would they be terrible days?
He never told me that. He just listed the dates, and I wrote them down on the circus pass I received from my friend, a police officer named Huey Foster. As worried as I am for tomorrow, which is the first date, September 15th, 1994, Grandpa Joseph listed 5 days, not just one, so obviously you're not gonna die tomorrow even if the day is very bleak.
Oh yes, but there's always the possibility of severed limbs and mutilation and paralysis and brain damage.
Thanks, Mother. Thanks for the image.
But how can I prepare myself for anything that happens tomorrow?
You should stay home from midnight to midnight, hide out, nap, read, watch a little TV.
Then what'll happen is that he'll fall down the stairs and break his neck.
Don't use the stairs, Jimmy. Just stay in your room. I can bring your meals to you.
So then the house will burn down.
Oh, Weena, the house won't burn down. The electrical wiring is sound. The furnace is brand new. Both fireplace chimneys were recently cleaned. There's a grounded lightning rod on the roof, and Jimmy doesn't play with matches.
If not a fire, then a gas explosion.
I don't want to be responsible for destroying the house.
There hasn't been a house-destroying gas explosion in the entire history of Snow Village.
So an airliner will crash into the place.
Oh, and that happens weekly around here.
There's a first time for everything.
If there's a first time for an airliner to crash into our house, then there's a first time for vampires to move in next door. But I'm not gonna start wearing a garlic necklace.
If not an airliner, one of those Federal Express planes full of packages.
Federal Express.
What Mother means is that surely if fate has something planned for our Jimmy, he can't hide from it. Fate is fate, it will find him.
If that's true, then how about I just go about my day like I would normally, but always with caution?
That sounds right.
On the other hand, caution could get him killed.
How would caution get a person killed?
Suppose Jimmy's going to cross the street, but he worries a bus might hit him, or maybe a garbage truck, or maybe even a speeding hearse.
What reason would a hearse have to speed?
Speeding or not, if it was a hearse. Wouldn't that be ironic? Run down by a hearse. So he stands on the sidewalk, looks both ways, being cautious, taking his time, when all of a sudden, because he's waiting on the curb too long, a safe drops on him.
A safe drops from where?
From a tall building, of course.
There are no tall buildings in Snow Village.
What about the Alpine Hotel?
That's only 4 stories, but regardless, why would anyone raise a safe to the top of the Alpine Hotel?
Well, of course, to keep the hotel's valuables in.
Why not have a big heavy safe on the ground floor? Why go to all the trouble of craning it to the roof?
Because no doubt their valuables were on the top floor.
Well, you. Okay, you know what, Jimmy? When you wake up in the morning, just stick to your usual routine. With caution. But not too much caution.
And prepare to be enchanted.
Are you all right? I said, are you all right? You don't look well.
I thought I saw something over there.
You mean something from the sky?
Yes, something from the sky. Something odd.
UFO you mean?
Maybe a UFO thing. Probably not. I don't know. It's gone now.
Are you all right?
Yeah, sure, I'm fine. Just the sky thing. It's gone now. Good day, sir. Cornelius Rutherford Snow Library. Dedicated to the man which Snow Village has taken its name from.
I think this gentleman will be wanting a book in flying saucers.
On the contrary, Lionel Davis, I'm not here for a book, I'm here.
How many flies do you swallow on the average day with your mouth hanging open? Is your mouth ever not hanging open? Huh? Just asking.
What did he ever do to you?
Who?
Lionel Davis. He was a good man, gentle.
Oh. Him?
He had a name, you know. He had a life, friends. He was somebody.
Wasn't he just a librarian?
What did he ever do to you?
I wouldn't have shot him in the head if you hadn't come in.
What are you talking about?
By myself, I can't manage 2 hostages. He was here alone. The assistant librarian is out sick. There were no patrons at the moment. He was going to lock the doors. Then you came in.
Don't tell me I'm responsible.
Oh no, not at all. Not your fault. It was just one of those things. I would have shot you instead. But having met you earlier in the street, I figured you'd be more interesting company than a boring old librarian.
What do you need a hostage for?
In case things go wrong.
What things?
You'll see. Just lock one cuff to your wrist. Take it. Take it or I'll line it on you and just wait for another hostage to walk through that door. Now stay right where I can see you while I lock the door.
Is that a gun?
Doesn't it look like a gun?
Well, it might be a toy. I mean, is it a real gun?
Want me to shoot him with it?
Gee, that seems a little extreme.
I only need one hostage.
I don't mean to criticize, and I'm sure you know business better than I do, but you're wrong about needing only one hostage.
You have a theory or something about hostages?
Not a theory, just a practical observation. If you wind up in a showdown with the police and you only have one hostage, you couldn't convince them that you'd actually kill the person, that you aren't bluffing. They might try to rush you, in which case both you and the hostage would be dead.
I can be pretty convincing.
If I was a cop, I wouldn't believe you for a minute. You look too cute to be a killer. Isn't he too cute? But if you had two hostages, you could kill one to prove the sincerity of your threat, and after that the second would be a reliable shield. No cop would dare test you twice.
You're some piece of work.
I'm a reader and a thinker, that's all.
What's your name?
Lorrie Lynn Hicks. What about you?
I'm a man of mystery.
And a man with a mission by the looks of it.
I already killed the librarian.
I was sort of afraid you have.
My name is James.
Hi, Jimmy.
May I take your purse?
Oh, of course.
Go stand beside him and cuff yourself to him.
You smell like lemons.
I've spent the day making homemade lemon marmalade. I intended to have the first of it tonight on toasted English muffins.
I'll brew a pot of bittersweet hot chocolate with a dash of cinnamon. That in your marmalade muffins will be the perfect thing to celebrate.
This has taken too much time. I've got a lot of research to do before the explosions start.
I've got a nail file in my purse.
Your nails look fine.
No, it's not about my nails. The reason I mentioned the nail file in my purse is because it's a metal file, sharp enough at one end to be a weapon.
Oh. He took your purse.
I can get it back if I claim a female emergency. If I tell him I'm having my period and I desperately need a tampon, I'm sure he'll do the gentlemanly thing and give me my purse.
He is a murderer. He shot Lionel Davis in the head.
That doesn't mean he's incapable of courtesy.
I wouldn't bet the bank on it.
I hope you're not a congenital pessimist. That would be just too much. Held hostage by a librarian killer and shackled to a congenital pessimist.
I'm not a pessimist. I'm a realist.
That's what every pessimist says.
You'll see. I'm not a pessimist.
I'm an indefatigable optimist. Do you know what that means? Indefatigable?
I'm not freaking stupid. You're not the only reader and thinker in Snow Village.
What does indefatigable mean?
Incapable of being fatigued. Persistent.
Tireless. I'm a tireless optimist.
There's a fine line between an optimist and a Pollyanna.
See, he's vulnerable.
Are you both locals? What about it, Jimmy? This is the county library, so people come here from all around. Do you live in town, or outside somewhere?
I live in Snow Village.
How long have you been here?
All my life.
Do you like it here?
Not handcuffed in the library, but I like most other places in town, yeah.
You're a funny guy, Jimmy.
I don't mean to be. Unless, of course, you want me to be.
In spite of everything I've been through, I have a sense of humor.
I can tell.
What about you, miss?
I have a sense of humor, too.
For sure, you're way funnier than Jimmy. But what I meant is, do you live here in town?
Yeah, 2 blocks from here.
You lived here all your life?
No, just a year. I grew up in Los Angeles. 19 years in LA and I wasn't totally bug-eyed crazy yet, so I knew I had almost no time left to get out.
Do you like it here in Snow Village?
So far, yeah, it's nice.
Snow Village is an evil place. I sat there earlier, watching the birds crap on the statue of Cornelius Rutherford Snow.
What's evil about that? If he was half as pompous as the statue makes him look, the birds have got it right.
I don't mean the birds are evil. What I mean is the park is evil. The ground, all the ground this town is built on.
So, did they build the town on an Indian burial ground or something?
The earth itself was good once long ago, but it was corrupted because of evil things that evil people did here.
Fortunately, I don't own any real estate. I'm a renter.
I live with my folks.
The time has come for payback.
Answering evil with evil just means everyone loses.
I'm not answering evil with evil, I'm answering evil with justice.
Well, that's very different.
If I were you, I'd wonder how to know for sure that something I'm doing is justice and not just more evil. I mean, the thing about evil is, it's slippery. My mom says the devil knows how to mislead us into thinking we're doing the right thing, when what we're really doing is the devil's work.
Your mother sounds like a caring person. You're a very lucky man, Jimmy, to have a caring mother. What must that be like?
Good. It's good.
To have a caring mother who makes you hot cocoa every morning, kisses you on the cheek, reads you to sleep. I didn't have a caring mother. My childhood was hard, cold, loveless. It's a waste of time to dwell on the past. What's done is done. It's time for action now, for justice.
And how will that justice be achieved?
I'm going to blow up a lot of stuff and kill a bunch of people and make this town sorry. It's what I've been planning my whole life.
Do you think I could have my purse?
What for?
It's a female emergency.
Female emergency? What's that mean?
You know.
How would I know?
It's that time of month.
The middle.
What? The middle?
It's the middle of the month, the 15th of September. So what?
Ugh, I'm having my period.
Ah, a female emergency. Why do you need your purse?
I need a tampon.
You saying there's a tampon in your purse?
Yes.
And you need it now. You can't wait.
No, I absolutely can't wait.
What's really in your purse? A gun?
No gun, just a pointy metal nail file.
You were going to use a nail file to disable me. I should kill you dead right here.
You should. I would if I were you.
What a piece of work. All these years, planning for this day, I expected it to be gratifying in a savage sort of way, even thrilling, but I never thought it would be as much fun as this. That would be Honker and Crinkles. You'll like them, they have the explosives. We tortured a member of the Snow Village Historical Preservation Society, but we couldn't get the keys out of him. I'm sure he'd have given them to us if he's known where to get them. But it was our bad luck, and his, that we chose the wrong person to torture, so we had to resort to this. Go and sit on those two chairs, both of you. Excellent. You're right on time, Honker.
Who are those two?
Hostages.
What do we need hostages for?
In case things go wrong.
You think something will go wrong?
No, but they entertain me.
Whether something goes wrong or not, we'll have to waste them.
Of course.
It would be a shame to off the dame without using it.
Put her out of your mind, Crinkles. That isn't going to happen.
Why is she off limits? She belonged to you?
She belongs to nobody. We didn't come all this way just to score some quith. If we don't stay focused on the main objective, the whole operation will fall apart.
No matter what goes wrong, we'll have to burn them.
We've been over this.
Because they've seen our faces, we'll have to whack them both.
I understand that.
The time comes I want to be the one to ice the dame.
You can whack her when we don't need hostages anymore. I don't have a problem with that.
You can whack both of them. Means nothing to me.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Then order.
We've wasted enough time as it is. Start synchronizing and planting the explosives. I'll join you shortly.
If we're in the room alone with Crinkles, I'm going to tell him I'm having a female emergency.
That again. You're gonna get us killed.
That's lame. They're gonna kill us anyway. Weren't you listening?
But you'll get us killed sooner. We'll get an opportunity, and when it comes we'll take it. But it's got to be something a lot better than the female emergency gimmick.
Like what?
Something that'll give us an edge.
We can't just wait. We're just waiting to die.
No, I'm waiting for the right opportunity.
You're going to get us killed.
What happened to the indefatigable optimist?
You're smothering her. Crinkles is the weakling. You know why? He likes me.
He wanted to kill you.
Before that.
Before what?
Before he asked the grinning Phoebe if he could kill me, he very distinctly expressed a romantic interest.
The way I remember it, he wanted to rape you.
You don't rape someone you don't find attractive.
Rape is not about sex, it's about power.
Why do you find it so hard to believe that Crinkles might think I'm cute?
You are cute, you're beyond cute, you're gorgeous. But Crinkles isn't the kind of guy who falls in love, he's the kind of guy who falls in hate.
Do you mean that?
Yeah, Crinkles didn't sound too nice when...
No, the other part, the cute beyond cute gorgeous part.
You're the most amazing looking person I've ever seen, but you've got to...
That's so sweet. But I'm not sensitive about my looks, and though I like compliments as much as any girl does, I prefer honesty in the long run. I'm aware of my nose, for instance. My nose is pinched.
It's not pinched.
It's pinched.
Alright, maybe it's pinched, but it's pinched in a totally perfect way.
Once you're done with the detonator, bring the prisoners with you.
Stay where you are. I'm gonna lock the door.
Snatched it from the table we passed on our way to the tunnel. Gimme.
I pulled this Excalibur from the stone, and only I have the power to use it. What is this tunnel? When was it built? By who?
Back in the 1800s. Cornelius Snow had it constructed so he can get around town secretly.
What was he? A Victorian Batman or something?
The tunnels connect 4 of his major holdings around the square, the belly-crawling capitalist pig. These major holdings are his mansion, that pile of gaudy excess, his library which is nothing but a temple to decadent Western so-called literature, his courthouse, that nest of judges who oppressed the masses for him, and the bank where he stole from the poor and foreclosed on widows.
He owned his own bank. How cool.
He owned most of some things, and some of just about everything. the blood-sucking black-hearted running dog. If 100 men had divided his possessions, every one of them would have been too rich to be allowed to live. Wish I'd been alive back then. I'd have cut the imperialist swine's head off and played kickball with it.
Okay.
Someplace, huh? The institution's historical records are stored on this level.
What institution?
We're under the bank.
You're not gonna rob it, are you?
Isn't that what banks are for? This here's the bank's emergency generator.
So you've disabled the bank's emergency generator?
How did you know?
The parts scattered there on the floor were a clue.
You're quick. The bank closed an hour ago. The teller's drawers have been reconciled and they've gone home. The vault will have been closed 10 minutes ago. By routine, the manager and the 2 security guards were the last to leave.
Somewhere you've rigged a power company transformer to blow, cutting electrical service to the town square?
When the power goes, the generator won't cut in and the vault will be vulnerable.
You're both very quick. What's the story with you two? You ever planned a heist before?
Not in this reincarnation, but that's another story.
Remember that statue outside the library, which displayed Cornelius Rutherford's note to be pompous?
The one that the birds were crapping on.
Yeah, that one. I don't care what the statue displays. From every indication, Cornelius Snow was an honest, civic-minded man.
He was an insatiable, greedy, drooling pig. I would have roasted him on his spit and fed him to dogs.
He didn't need to misappropriate any depositors' funds, because 80% of the deposits were his to begin with. In the 1870s there wasn't anything remotely like the complex web of regulation and oversight by which banks operate these days. Shortly past the turn of the century, that simpler world began to fade away. After Cornelius died, when the bulk of his estate was left to a charitable trust, the section of tunnel leading to the bank's subterranean entrance was walled shut. The steel door at the head of those stairs to the vault isn't actually operable. The old oak door was replaced with steel in the 1930s, then welded shut. On the other side is a reinforced concrete block wall. But we can get through all of that in maybe 2 hours once we've dealt with the alarm.
I'm surprised this room right here isn't alarmed.
Nobody saw the need. To all appearances, it's not a major bank, not worth knocking over. Besides, after 1902 when they sealed off the underground approach, there wasn't a back entrance anymore. And in respect of the bank's security, the charitable trust that owns the Snow Mansion agreed not to disclose Cornelius's tunnels.
Wow. How do you know so much about this town?
You can't deeply fully know a town if you love it. Loving it, you're charmed by surfaces. To deeply fully know a town, you've got to hate it. Loathe it with an unquenchable fiery passion. You've got to be consumed by a need to learn all its rotten, shameful secrets and use them against it. You've got to live for the day when its every stick and stone will be wiped forever from the face of the earth.
But when you come right down to it, this whole escapade isn't about hate or justice as you said earlier. It's about bank robbery, money.
I don't give a crap about money. By robbing this bank, I'm destroying it so I can break the town. It's about vengeance. Well-deserved, long overdue vengeance. That's close enough to justice for me.
Not for me, it isn't. This is about money, because wealth is the root and stock and flower of power, and power liberates the power, while oppressing the powerless. So to crush what crushes, those who are oppressed must oppress the oppressors. Some of that filthy stinking pig's money belongs to me and to lots of other people he exploited to get it.
Cornelius Snow never exploited you. He died long before you were born.
What we're doing here is making a political statement.
Cash, that's all it's about for me, cold cash. I'm here to take the money and run. If there wasn't a bank, I wouldn't have signed up for this. The rest of it doesn't matter to me, and if you guys don't shut up and get the job done, then I'm out of here and you're on your own. Crinkles, there's a clock running and we've got a lot to do, that's all I'm saying. And if we just do the job, your political statement will be made loud and clear. And what about you, boss? You planned this caper because you want justice for your mother's death 20 years ago. So let's do the job and get the vengeance.
Wait a moment, librarian killer. Did your mother die in childbirth? And did your father kill the doctor in a mad rage?
That's what those newspapers said, the ones that I shot on the table. Almost everything in that newspaper was a lie.
Well, what do you expect from newspapers?
Capitalist lapdogs is all they are.
Then you are Punchinello Beezo.
Why, yes. That is my name.
Do you know this man?
Well, not really, but we were born the same day around the same minute. My father told me all about it. Punchinello's mother died giving birth and the father, a mad clown named Konrad Beezo, killed their physician and ran off from the hospital.
Don't forget Honker, we gotta set up the explosives.
What kind of name is Punchinello?
His father named him after a famous clown.
You really are Jimmy Tock,
James.
son of Rudy Tock.
That's me.
My father says Rudy Tock saved his life.
Dad might be surprised to hear that.
Well, Rudy Tock is a modest man as well as a man of courage. But when that phony nurse with the poison dagger in her fist was sneaking up behind the great Konrad Beezo, my father, he would have been a gunner if your dad hadn't shot her dead.
I hadn't heard this part.
You haven't told her.
He's just as modest as his father. What about the phony nurse?
She was dispatched to the hospital to murder the great Konrad Beezo, my mother, and me. The one who dispatched her is Vivacemente. The hateful aerialists, the world-famous flying Vivacementes, trapeze artists, high-wire walkers, overpaid prima donnas, the most arrogant, most pompous, most conceited, most overrated of them all, is Virgilio, the paterfamilias, my mother's father, Virgilio Vivacemente, swine of swines.
That's not a very nice thing to say about your grandfather.
I deny his right to be my grandfather. I refuse him, renounce him. I repudiate that old preening pile of crap. When my mother married my father, her folks were furious that a flying Vivacemente would marry a clown. To them, aerialists are not merely the royalty of the circus, but demigods. White clowns are a lower life form, the scum of the big top. They scorned and disowned my mother for marrying the great Konrad Beezo. Because she married for love a man they considered beneath their class, she was not their daughter anymore. She was dirt to them.
So let me get this straight. They were all in the same circus. Your mom living in the clown end of the encampment with your father, the Vivacemente family living in the upper class neighborhood, on the road together but apart?
Every performance the Vivacementes prayed to Jesus that the great Beezo would break his spine and be paralyzed for life when he was shot out of a cannon, and my father prayed to Jesus that their entire family would fall as one from their high trapezes and die on impact with the center ring.
Wouldn't you like to have seen the look on Jesus' face when he read their email?
On the night I was born here in Snow Village, Virgilio hired an assassin who came to the hospital disguised as a nurse.
That quickly?
Oh yes, criminals all over the world are connected to him. He arranged to have us murdered while he and his family were performing an airtight alibi in the expectant father's lounge. When the hired killer crept up on my father from behind, Rudy Tock entered at that very moment, saw the fiend, drew his pistol and shot her before she could carry out Virgilio's orders. Saved by Rudy Tock, my father realized that my mother and I too were in danger, so he rushed into the maternity ward, located the delivery room, and arrived as the doctor was suffocating an innocent newborn.
The doctor was a phony too?
No, Dr. McDonald was a real doctor, but he was bribed by Virgilio to make it look like my mother died in childbirth and I was stillborn. Virgilio thought the oh so precious Vivacemente blood was polluted by the great Konrad Beezo, and me and my mother must be eradicated. Konrad Beezo shot the doctor as he tried to suffocate me. My mother, my beautiful mother, was already dead.
Some story.
But Virgilio Vivacemente, that spawn of a witch's toilet, that animated dog vomit, knew just how corrupt this town was, how easily he can conceal the truth. He bribed the police, the local journalists, and the official story is the outrageous concoction of lies reported in the Gazette.
Seems like such a transparent concoction to know the truth.
Rudy Tock must have been so frustrated to have silence imposed on him all these years.
Dad took no money from Virgilio, not a penny.
Of course he didn't. Konrad Beezo, my father, has impressed on me what a courageous man of integrity Rudy Tock is. I know they must have silenced him in some brutal fashion.
They beat Dad once a week for years.
This evil town.
But that alone wouldn't have silenced him. They threatened to kill my grandma Weena if he talked.
They beat her too.
But they only beat her once.
They knocked out her teeth.
Only 2 teeth.
They tore off her ear.
It was her hat. They tore off her hat and stomped on it.
They tore off an old lady's hat. We've all suffered at the hands of these monsters.
Where's your father been these past 20 years?
On the run, always moving. 2 steps ahead of the law, but barely 1 step ahead of Vivacemente's private detectives. He raised me in a dozen different places, forced to give up the big career. The great Konrad Beezo reduced to taking clown positions with smaller shows and demeaning jobs, like Kids Party Clown, Carnage Clown, Dunk the Clown in a Carnival. Living under false names like Cheezo, Giggles, Clappo, Saucy.
Saucy?
For a while he was a clown MC in a strip club. He was so humiliated. The men who go to those places don't appreciate the genius. They only care for nipples and butts. Grieving, despairing, in a constant seething fury, terrified that an agent of the Vivacementes would find him at any moment. He was as good a father as he could be under the circumstances, though Konrad Beezo lost all capacity to love when he lost my mother.
Hollywood could make a great tearjerker out of this.
My childhood was cold, hard, loveless, but there were compensations. By the time I was 10, in preparation for the day I might have to stalk and destroy Virgilio Vivacemente, I learned an enormous deal about guns, knives, and poisons.
Often 10-year-old boys have nothing useful in their heads, just baseball, video games and trading cards.
I didn't get love, but at least he kept me safe from the vicious Virgilio and did his best to teach me all the craft and the technique that had made him a legend in his profession. I've got my part to do now. But don't worry, when this is done, Jimmy, I'll protect you. I know we can trust you not to rat us out. Nothing will happen to the son of Rudy Tock. As for the girl, we'll have to waste her.
No. You can't kill her. She's my fiancée. We're going to be married in November. We'd like you to come to the wedding if that's possible, but there'll be no wedding if you kill her.
Why didn't you say so? I only want happiness for the son of Rudy Tock, my father's savior and mine. This will be tricky with Honker and Crinkles, but we'll work it out.
Just something to get straight. We're not naming our first son Konrad or Beezo. Now do you still have the shift?
The what?
The shift.
You mean the nail file?
If that's what you wanna call it.
That's what it is.
Whatever you say. When do you plan on using it?
When the time is right.
Over 3 million in cash. If we hurry, we can beat the fireworks. Honker, Crinkles, follow me, and bring the hostages with you. Tonight, I will finally make my father proud after failing him and everything else.
Don't be so hard on yourself. You seem to be a whiz on all the gun, knife, poison stuff.
That wasn't what mattered to him. What mattered to him was that I should be a clown, but guess what? I sucked at it. Trained by the great Konrad Beezo, and I can't do a good pratfall.
I've been in the ring with Punch, done the exploding clown car routine with him, the foot in the bucket hokum, the rain from under the umbrella skit, even the mouse in the pants number, which nobody can screw up.
Yet I screwed them all up. They laughed at me, and not in a good way either.
Aren't they supposed to laugh at a clown?
Laugh with a clown, not laugh at a clown. You'd know the difference if you were a clown. One time I actually got my head stuck in the bucket and not my foot.
That sounds pretty funny.
You'd think, but they booed me out of the big top that night.
You're a good boy, Punch. That's all that matters. I'd be proud if you were my son.
That's nice, Crinkles. That's really nice.
What's so great about being a clown anyway? Even when rubs are not laughing with you, they're also laughing at you, and the fringe benefits suck.
Ah, the kitchen of Snow Mansion. Perfect.
Do you think it may have been the $3 million?
Bet you thought I'd clip them only when we were loaded in the van and out of town with the money. But trust me, this was the best moment. My wedding gift to you.
Would it be an adequate expression of our gratitude to name our first son Konrad?
That's so sweet, so kind. I can't think of anything that would please my father, the great Konrad Beezo, more than to know that the grandson of Jimmy Tock was named after him.
Then all that remains to make us happy is if you were to agree to be our baby's godfather.
I understand the obligation. I'll be little Konrad's protector. Anyone who ever wrongs him will answer to me.
You can't know what comfort that gives to a mother.
Okay, now, would you two be so kind as to help me get this handcart out the front door of the mansion? Please and thank you. You know, it's ironic. As bad as I am at clowncraft, I'm that good at walking a wire, and I'm at home on a trapeze, secretly taking some training, of course.
You've inherited your mother's talent.
My father wanted me to inherit his talent, not hers. I could have put all that training into clowning, and I'd have been a star.
You're still young. It's not too late.
Even if I sold my soul for the chance, I could never become one of them, never an aerialist. Virgilio Vivacemente is the living god of aerialists and knows them all. If I performed, he would hear of me, come to see me, recognize my mother's face in mine, and then he'd kill me, dismember me, marinate my remains in gasoline, burn them, urinate on the ashes, put the wet ashes in a bucket, take them to a farm, and stir them into the muddy wallow in the corner of a pig pen? To him, my blood is tainted.
You're probably overestimating his villainy.
He's done that very thing before. He is an arrogant beast. He claims he is descended from Caligula, the mad emperor of Rome. That's why I've decided to throw my life away in a frenzy of vengeance. Might as well die if I can't fly. Now you see that red car near the curb. We're pulling that hand cart to the back of that car. Now move.
Sure, no problem.
The trunk is unlocked. Load the boxes and hurry. We got less than 6 minutes before they go boom. Good work. Me and the dame will ride in the back. You drive. Catch.
No, wait. If I miss them, they might go down the street drain and then we're screwed.
Fine. Just take them off my hand. Well, go on. The gun's not pointed at you. I won't pull the trigger.
Jimmy, we're running out of time. The bombs. Gimme the gun.
Why?
I don't know which pocket he put the key in.
Lorrie, we have no time to search for the key and... Hey!
Better turn your face away.
Don't talk so mean to me. I love you.
Yeah, well, we always hurt the ones we love. Come on, we better get going.
What's going on here?
This man is shot, we need an ambulance. The shooter is laying unconscious over there. He's hurt and doesn't have a gun anymore. No, get back, the building's gonna blow.
Here's hoping that bugger won't weasel out of a trial. Here's hoping he fries. You don't think they'll send him to some asylum and let him off the hook?
He doesn't want that himself. He's saying he knows exactly what he was doing and it was all about revenge.
He's crazy in his own way, but he knows right from wrong as sure as I do. Well, Rudy, thank you for having me over for dinner.
No problem, Lorrie.
I love this family. Grandma Rowena was funny with that story she told about Harry Ramirez boiling himself to death.
Yeah, she knows how to crack us open with a little something, doesn't she?
I can tell that wasn't a real laugh. Boiling oneself to death should not be taken lightly.
Hey, good heavens, Weena.
See you soon.
Bye, Lorrie.
I'm liking this girl. You know, Jimmy, you really shouldn't let her slip out of your hands.
You don't think so?
No, she seems perfect to continue the Tock family. Life doesn't go forever.
Nope. It doesn't. Hi, it's Jimmy. Sorry if I woke you.
I only got home 15 minutes ago. I'm not in bed yet.
I had fun tonight.
Me too. I love your family.
Listen, this isn't something that should be asked over the telephone, but if I don't do it, I won't sleep. I'll lie awake worrying that my window is closing and I'm missing my last chance at the mountain.
All right, but if you're going to be this cryptic, I better take notes so later I'll have a chance of puzzling out what you were talking about.
No, it's not gonna be that complex. I shouldn't be asking this over the telephone but more in person. I'm probably asking this way too soon, but I've worked myself up to this terrifying conviction that if I don't ask you to tonight I'll be foiled by fate or storms, and my window of opportunity will close. So the question is, Lorrie Lynn Hicks, will you marry me? I don't remember ever getting a black Hummer.
Don't worry about that now. Just get me to the hospital. I need to be in labor.
Who the heck was that guy, and why is he shooting at us?
Why bother reasoning with him? Shoot back.
Crap, I didn't bring that new 9mm gun I bought a couple years back and I can't go into the house.
How could you forget your gun while this is happening?
I didn't forget. I didn't think I needed it.
Now that's just great, Jimmy. Now we got some random dude shooting at us and we didn't even get to see his face. Not that I want a good look at his face.
Is the baby fine?
Oh, he's mad. Someone trying to shoot his mama.
He?
I think it's a boy.
It's not like we took an ultrascan, so, okay.
That man in the Hummer's not letting up.
We'll outrun him.
Can we?
Call 911.
Reception's not gonna be very good, but it's worth a shot. Oh! Stupid phone.
Freaking engine. You okay?
pregnant.
Contractions?
Tolerable.
Still irregular.
Thankfully.
Lock the doors after me.
Where are you going?
Surprise him.
No, let's run.
You can't.
This blows.
Don't worry, we'll be fine.
Hello there. Missy? Please open the door, Missy. I've traveled a long way to see you. Is the baby coming? I don't want to harm you. All I want is the baby. This sure hasn't gone anything like I planned. It's one of those cursed days makes the man believe in bad mojo and the evil eye. Relax, little lady, didn't I already tell you I wouldn't do any harm? Just because it's in your lap don't make a move for the gun. You don't know how to use it, you'd hurt yourself. Besides, I don't want to have to punch you in the face, you being the mother of my boy.
What are you talking about?
You took my son from me, my only child, and I'm sure that if you search your heart you'll be the first to admit that you owe me yours.
Your son? I don't know your son.
You sent him to prison for life, and your husband, the ungrateful progeny of Jimmy Tock, has rendered him unable to procreate.
You're Konrad Beezo?
The one and only, for many years on the run, and often denied a spotlight to display my talents, but still a clown at heart and full of glory.
You don't look like him. I've seen photos of Konrad Beezo, and I've never seen him like this.
24 years takes a toll on any man. And as a fugitive of some notoriety, I spent a long holiday in South America with my little Punchinello, where I had just enough plastic surgery to restore anonymity.
You can't blame us for what happened to Punchinello.
We all had our reasons, surely you had yours. Who's to say that you were wrong? There's no need for judgmentalism, nothing to be gained from ugly accusations. There's two sides to every story and sometimes 10. It's just that a thing was done, my son was taken from me and rendered incapable of giving me grandchildren, heirs to the Beezo talent. And therefore it's only fair that I be compensated.
Your Punchinello killed a bunch of people and would have killed me and Jimmy too. But wait, how do you know about my pregnancy?
I've been listening in on the action through a listening device in your kitchen and in your living room. I had to kill one of the neighbors just to discreetly listen in on the progress. Because of that I know that you're in first stage labor and will be for hours yet. Just a little dream juice and we don't have to worry much about it anymore.
I can't take that.
It won't delay the baby much. Now be a lamb and take off your parka, roll up a sleeve, and let me find a vein.
What are you going to do to me?
I'm just going to sedate you a little to make you more cooperative and pliable. Then I'll cut the lap and shoulder belts from this vehicle, fashion them into a sling, and pull you up this slope to Hawksbill Road.
I'm pregnant.
As anyone but a blind man can see. I won't secure the sling in any way that would harm you or the baby. I can't carry you up that incline, too hard and dangerous. When we reach the top, I'll load you in my Hummer and drive you to a nice cozy private place. When the time comes, I'll deliver your adorable baby.
But you're not a doctor.
But I know the procedure. I read an entire book about it. I've got all the necessary supplies and instruments.
Oh my gosh.
You really do need a better attitude, dear. Attitude is the secret to a happy life. I can recommend some excellent books on the subject. I'll tie everything off just right and leave you where you'll be safe until you're found. Then the boy and I will be away on our great adventure. I will teach him all I know, and though he doesn't have Beezo blood in his veins, he will become the most acclaimed clown of his century. I learned with my Punchinello that talent doesn't always travel from generation to generation, but I have so very much to share and such a talent for sharing it that I have no doubt I will make him a star.
It's going to be a girl.
How do you know that? You didn't want the doctor to tell you the sex of the baby.
But what if it is a girl?
It will be a boy. Because I need a boy.
Why? Is it because no girl has ever been a famous clown?
There are female clowns, but none of great merit. The merry kingdom of the big top is ruled by men. It's cold in here now, and getting very late. Now come on, take off your parka.
No.
It would grieve me to knock you unconscious with a punch or two, but I will if you give me no choice. You can always have another baby.
Who was that guy?
Punchinello's daddy.
Really? Doesn't look like him. Not much anyway.
24 years and plastic surgery.
Why is he here?
He wanted our baby.
The baby.
I'll tell you later, Jimmy. The contractions aren't more frequent, but they sure are a lot more painful and I'm way cold.
I'll shackle him with the tow cable, put him in the back seat.
I don't want him in here with us.
He'll be restrained.
Famous last words. He's not just your ordinary maniac, he's the great Beezo. I don't want him in here.
Vivacemente.
He tried to sedate me with this.
Gimme.
Syphilitic weasel, swine of swines.
How about I shackle him to a tree?
Better idea.
Anything changes I want to know right away.
Changes?
Like if your water breaks.
Oh honey, if my water breaks you'll know it without being told. You'll be ankle deep in it. We've never discussed how many children we're going to have. Right now I'm thinking maybe 5. Are you also thinking 5?
I always thought 3, but after that little speech I'm thinking 20.
Let's make the decision 5 at a time.
Deal. 1 almost out of the oven and 4 left to bake.
2 girls and 3 boys, or 3 girls and 2 boys.
Is that really our decision?
I believe we shape our own reality by positive thinking. I'm sure we can positive think ourselves into any combination we wanted, although for ideal balance we should have 2 girls, 2 boys, and 1 hermaphrodite.
That might be taking the balance too far.
Oh Jimmy, no kids will ever have been loved more than these are going to be loved.
But they won't be spoiled.
Darn right they won't, the little brats. Their great-grandma Rowena can read them fairy tales. That'll keep them on the straight and narrow.
Dr. Melodion here, looks like you got someone here who needs to give birth.
Yes, you can ensure a healthy delivery, right?
Of course. Come this way, lady.
Thank you.
This is James Tock. I am currently at the Snow County Hospital. Why did I call? On the way to the hospital, me and my wife ran afoul of a fugitive murderer named Konrad Beezo. Right now he's shackled to a tree in the woods about 300 to 400 yards downhill and west of his parked Hummer, near Hawksbill Road. Oh, you'll get him. Thank you. Hey Dad, this is Jimmy. Lorrie is about to give birth in the Snow County Hospital.
Jimmy. Oh, brother, thanks for calling. I saw your house burn down, and I was worried about you.
My house burned down while we were at the hospital? Or no, it must have been just as we were leaving because Konrad Beezo was trying to kill me and Lorrie while backing out of the driveway. How could the second terrible day get any worse?
You think he was responsible for the fire?
No, I know it was him. He was trying to lure me out of the house so he can take me out.
Did you call the police?
I had to wait until we got to the hospital because of the crappy reception.
Okay, we'll be on our way to the hospital.
I don't think you'll need to come in this weather.
If it was raining scorpions and cowbees, we'd still come, though we wouldn't like it much. It'll take us a while to get there because first we gotta get Weena into her snow suit. You know what an ordeal she'll make it that, but we'll be there.
So we're not gonna have a video camera?
Nah, too tacky. I just want to see it with my own eyes.
Jimmy Tock, an important call for you. Captain Huey Foster of the Snow Village Police Department needed to speak with you.
I'll be back in a minute. Hold everything. What do you mean he's gone? He can't be gone. You haven't found the right tree.
Excuse me, Jimmy, but I bet you may left butt cheek. There's not more than one tree out there decorated with a tow cable and a torn-up coat with sheepskin lining.
He couldn't use his hands. They were behind him. Did he chew his way out of the coat?
Almost looks like it. By the way, about that black Hummer you said the fugitive was tied to a tree next to? We already learned it was stolen 12 days ago in Las Vegas. When we found out that Beezo escaped, we wanted to call in a bloodhound team, but the weather argued against it. He won't get far in this cold without a coat. After the spring thaw, we'll find him. That is the dinosaurs.
Not this one. This one is different. He's like the clown in a Jack-in-the-Box. He just keeps popping up.
He ain't supernatural.
I wouldn't take that side of the argument.
I'm half on the same conclusion. I just called up 4 off-duty men. They'll be coming around to the hospital just in case.
How long till they get there?
10 minutes, maybe 15. Meanwhile, you better watch out for Lorrie. I don't think it'll come to that, but it might. She have the baby yet?
It's on the way right now. Hey, my house is burned down and on the way out of the snowy woods. Lorrie told me about how Konrad was listening in on our talk of the baby through listening devices in the house. He camped out in the neighbor's house to keep a watch on us.
Which neighbor?
He never specified. Try knocking on every door in the neighborhood. If there's no answer on one of them, then it's most likely the one he was hiding out in.
We'll check it out. Now you better get back to that special girl of yours and don't let anything happen to her till my men arrive.
Oh, Jimmy. I've heard that Konrad Beezo was back. You think he's got room for one more body?
I think he's got more than enough room. I don't have time to explain more. We gotta get to the delivery room now.
Jimmy Tock, say hello to your baby girl.
Welcome to the world, Annie Talk.
Jimmy Tock.
Chief Foster? You found out where Beezo was hiding out.
The neighbor he killed to spy on you was Netherlam. As reported by Officer Pauline, she was strangled, but we couldn't yet determine at what point in her ordeal she was murdered. Her packaged deer meat from her enormous freezer was piled on the back porch, and she was stored in the amana after getting stripped naked. She was also painted all over her body in the brightly striped and polka-dotted patterns of a traditional clown costume. Even the makeup she wore was like that of a clown. 3 of her teeth were black and her tongue was green. He even gave her a red rubber nose. Her eyelids were sewn shut, and to finish off, he took a set of deer antlers from her garage and tied them to her head.
How did he fit her in the freezer with those antlers?
He had to break her legs in several places with a sledgehammer. He must have spent hours doing this, paying meticulous attention to detail. He had to have done this because he thought it was funny. He thought someone would open that freezer and laugh, that we'd all be snickering about Nedra and her clown get-up for years to come, talking about what a joker that Beezo was.
Is Beezo sadistic? Stupid? Which is it?
I don't know. He certainly wanted to get at your family, but he didn't get any laughs from us for the death of Netherlam, not one smile. This young state trooper, he bolted from the house and threw up in the backyard.
You got a lead on where he could be?
Hopefully he's freezing to death in the woods.
He can't be in the woods, Huey. If he made it back up to Hawksbill Road and someone came along, he could have hitched a ride.
Who would be dumb enough to pick him up?
What ordinary decent person wouldn't pick him up? You see a guy not dressed for the weather, maybe standing by the Hummer. You think he broke down. You don't say to yourself, better not pick him up. He looks like a murderous clown.
If he got a ride, he probably took the car.
And the guy who gave him the ride is dead in the trunk.
Ugh, there hasn't been a murder in this town in 30 years that this creep and his son didn't commit.
What now?
State police are thinking roadblocks. There's only 5 routes out of the county and the snow already helps us.
Even if he leaves tonight, he has unfinished business. And I'm scared for my family, Huey.
I know, Jimmy, so am I. Oh, that reminds me. He taped this note to your mailbox.
If you ever have a son, I'll be coming for him. Prepare to be enchanted.
I appreciate your protection, Chief Foster, deeply. You've been doing a great job keeping a lookout for Konrad Beezo. Tonight and tomorrow especially, I'll need you to give great protection over this place, because he might be coming for our 2-year-old Andrew. Remember, he wants a boy, so he won't take Annie or Lucy.
That won't be a problem, Jimmy. Consider yourself safe. Now I'm sure you have a lot to look forward to tomorrow and hang on, especially tonight and tomorrow. What's with that especially?
I wouldn't want Beezo to ruin our Christmas, would you?
No, never. I don't want anyone's Christmas getting ruined.
I thought so. Good night, Chief Foster.
Good night.
Okay, Annie, Lucy, to bed. Mommy still has that note there. Good.
Of course I do. Why would I ever take it out?
I don't want the big highway monster to eat me and puke me up. I don't think the note would stop him.
I thought of that. That's why I brought Captain Fluffy.
He's just a dumb bear. Yeah, dumb. He can't scare off monsters. They'll eat him. Yeah, eat him and puke him up.
Actually, the captain is very smart and comes from a long line of bears that have for centuries guarded good little girls. They have never lost one child.
Not one?
Not one.
Maybe they lost some but lied about it. Yeah, what about it?
Does Captain Fluffy look like a liar?
No, but neither does Grand Weena, but Grandpa said she doesn't know anyone who boiled himself to death. Yeah, boiled himself to death.
Grandpa never accused Gran of lying. He just said she sometimes exaggerates a little.
Captain Fluffy doesn't look like a liar, and he isn't a liar. I think you should apologize to him.
I'm sorry, Captain Fluffy. Yeah, Fluffy.
Here, girls, each of you will have a flashlight. And I'm leaving your poo night light on. Good night, girls.
Can I sleep with you, Mom and Dad? The bad clown is still waiting in the closet waiting to eat me.
Where does he get these ideas? Andrew, you don't have anything to worry about. Mommy has something to help you feel safe.
Sergeant Snuggles. This is more than just a teddy bear. He'll stop that clown in his tracks.
And I also have something for you. A flashlight to vaporize that clown if he gets too close.
Thank you, Mom and Dad.
Sleep tight, dear.
Hey, what are you doing here?
Oh yes, I'm Porter Carson of the FBI, sir. I have good news to spread to Jimmy and Lorrie Tock.
Is it about Beezo?
Yes, it is about Beezo. We're almost about to get him.
Okay, great to hear. Go on, tell them the good news.
Lorrie, I'm still confused as to how Andrew came up with the idea of a child-eating clown in his closet. We never told him about Konrad Beezo, or his son, or any of the violent things they did we?
No, not as far as I remember.
You think he heard it from a playmate?
I don't think so. None of our kids ever played with other children out of our sight in case Konrad Beezo was still alive.
And we monitor their exposure to packaged entertainment and protect them from a media that wanted to corrupt them in 100 different ways.
We probably slipped up at one point, and Andrew must have glimpsed an evil clown with a chainsaw.
Well, don't worry. In case that clown in particular does show up, we still got our essentials. Pepper spray, tasers, a gun.
Wait. What if it's Beezo?
Relax, it won't happen until tomorrow. But just in case, I'll look through the peephole.
Front door open.
We got the same feature on our home alarm. Porter Carson, FBI.
Hey, what you doing here?
Chief Huey Foster's been talking about how you need protection from this murderous clown named Konrad Beezo.
Why, yes. Actually, we do need a bit of safety here.
I don't want to raise false hopes, but I think your troubles with Konrad Beezo may be drawing to an end at last.
Don't worry, I won't believe he's dead until I see his body being fed to a crematorium and ashes coming out.
Mrs. Tock, you're my idea of a caring mother. Say, how many kids you got again?
2 girls, 1 boy. But hang on, what got the FBI on Beezo's case?
Beezo took a page from his son's book, put together a little crew, started robbing banks not long after he torched your house. Hasn't blown up any of them yet, but he doesn't mind shooting guards and tellers and anyone gets in his way.
Tell me his crew isn't more clowns.
No ma'am, it isn't. Maybe his son recruited all the thieving clowns there are. One of his crew was a guy named Emery on Wall, been in Leavenworth for bank robbery. The other 2 were roustabouts.
I've heard the term, but I'm not sure I know what it means.
Roustabouts are the guys who put up the circus tents and pull them down, plus they take care of the equipment, the generators, that kind of stuff.
How many banks have they hit?
7 in 1998, 4 in 99, and they hit big with 2 armored cars, August and September 99.
Nothing in the last 3 years?
The thing is, the second of those armored cars was such a rich score, 6 million cash and 2 million in bearer bonds, Beezo decided he could retire, especially if he and Ornwall killed the roustabouts and didn't split with them, which is what they did.
Hard to imagine guys who knew Konrad Beezo would turn their backs on him.
Maybe they didn't. Both roustabouts were shot point blank on the face with such high caliber rounds that their heads were hollowed out like Halloween pumpkins.
So you've been after Beezo this whole time?
We nailed Ornwall in Miami March 2000. He tipped us that Beezo had gone to South America somewhere. He didn't know where, and it's a big continent.
When I was trapped in the car with him out there in the woods, he told me he'd gone to South America in '74 after he killed Dr. McDonald.
Back then he spent 6 months in Chile, 2.5 years in Argentina. This time it took us a while, but we tracked him to Brazil.
You got him?
No ma'am, but we will.
He's there now, in Brazil?
No ma'am, he left the 1st this month, 36 hours before we broke his cover, got his identity and address in Rio. Almost nailed him there, but he skipped to Venezuela, where we have some problems with extradition treaties right now, just a hiccup. He won't get out of there except we take him out in handcuffs or in a box.
He's not in Venezuela anymore. Sometime tomorrow he'll be here. Sometime tomorrow, or as early as midnight tonight, he'll be here.
No ma'am, there's no chance of that.
I'd bet my life on it, and in fact Mr. Carson, that's exactly what I'll be doing whether I like it or not.
Mr. Tock, I came here to ask something of you, but please believe me, I didn't come to warn you that Beezo is on your doorstep. He isn't, I can assure you.
Okay, listen to me, I can't tell you how I know, but I know he's gonna come right here sometime between midnight tonight and midnight tomorrow.
But ma'am, that's just not.
Listen to me, he wants my little Andrew, and he probably wants to kill all the rest of us. If you're serious about catching him, then forget Venezuela. He's not there anymore if he ever was. We need to set a trap here, now.
Believe me, ma'am, I can assure you that Beezo is not on your doorstep and will not be here tomorrow.
Jimmy, for heaven's sake, make him believe it. I don't think Huey has the manpower to protect us now. We won't be lucky like before.
Wait a minute, he's right. Beezo is not coming to our doorstep. He already has. Chief Foster wouldn't send someone here to talk to us without calling us first.
Where's my quid pro quo?
What quid pro quo?
My recompense, my make weight, my something for something, your little Andrew for my Punchinello. I will treat him well, better than you treated my son.
We're not handing him over.
I've been robbed of the fame that should have been mine. All I ever wanted was immortality, but I'm willing to settle now for a little second-hand glory. If I teach the boy what I know, he will be the greatest circus star of his age.
He has no talent for that. He's not the grandson of a clown.
I don't care whose grandson he is. Among my gifts is mentoring. My genius is all that matters.
Father another child of your own. Stay out of our lives.
Every boy with a minimum faculty for clownry must be molded into greatness with me as his guide, and his master, and his guru.
Father a child of your own. Even a creep like you can find some mad woman who'll spread her legs. For enough money you can pay some drug-addled prostitute to gag down her nausea and mate with you. With the right psychotic hag, you could father another murderous maggot as insane as your firstborn.
Stay in your room, kids, and lock the door. There's a monster down here.
Carson just came by and told me he'd be speaking with you. Now why is he dead on the floor?
It's not Carson, it's Beezo.
Beezo?
Jimmy, I've been trying to call you for a long while.
Sorry, I haven't been answering.
Well, you're here now. Rowena is real sick. She's in the hospital now, and this might be her last moments.
I have to be here anyway.
Just get her taken care of first, then meet us in room 15.
Jeepers, Jimmy, her pain is no jive.
Just make sure she is alive, okay?
We'll have to go straight to the surgery cause of how nasty it is. Oh, and you can't follow her there either.
I don't get to be by her side.
I don't want you to worry too much.
But I'm already worried.
Just go with what I'm saying, alright?
Okay. Why wouldn't I be? That clown has ruined my life. I'm scared for tomorrow.
There's no guarantee that she'll die tomorrow, but if she doesn't, then I will.
What? Is she actually talking sense for once?
Is Beezo still gonna be after you, Jimmy?
No, he's dead now. And pardon me for not keeping the Yuletide spirit, but for darn good reason.
Mr. Tock, your wife?
A successful surgery?
Considering how terrible her injuries were, everything went as well as I could have hoped. We had to remove her damaged spleen, which she could live without. More troubling, we had to take out a badly ravaged kidney, but hopefully she would be able to enjoy a full life with the one that remained.
Are the kids okay?
Andrew's safe. He's fine. So are Annie and Lucy.
Beezo?
Dead.
What's the date?
December 23rd.
The third day. Oh, Jimmy.
Obviously Grandpa missed it by a few hours. He should have warned us about the 22nd.
Maybe.
The worst is past.
Hang on. What all happened today before you came to see me?
Grandma Weena passed on.
Okay, that is a sad occasion. But that's probably not what your Grandpa Joseph predicted. In case things actually could get worse, we shouldn't let our guard down, not for a minute.
Don't worry about me, you lost a kidney.
Punchinello's still out there.
In the maximum security prison, no need to worry about him.
I'll worry a little anyway.
I'm so sorry.
Sorry for what?
For getting you into this.
You didn't get me into anything, you saved my life.
When you married me, my curse became yours.
There's no curse, there's only life the way it is. And in my life, you're the greatest blessing I could have hoped for. You're my every prayer answered.
Too bad Gran Rowena left this world, otherwise she could have spread the word about how Sparky Anderson uncorked a bottle of Merlot and found a severed finger in it.
What? You?
But that's not an appropriate story for a family Christmas.
Well, if you ask Weena, it's the most Christmassy story she knows.
What's so Christmassy about it?
There's a reindeer in it, and a fat guy with a white beard. Oh, and Jimmy, remember when Rowena told you about Harry Ramirez who boiled himself to death? She says that's a Christmassy story too. Well, it is. There's a midget in it.
What makes a midget Christmassy?
Haven't you ever heard of elves?
Elves aren't the same as midgets.
That's not what Rowena would say.
I would agree with Gran Rowena. Me too. Me too.
Midgets are people, elves are fairies.
Fairies are people too, even if they do prefer going to bed with their own gender. And wasn't the midget's name Kris Kringle?
I highly doubt it.
Oh wait. It's Kris Kringle, with a P.
Boy, that's Christmassy enough for me.
This is nuts.
Oh come on, Rudy, don't be such a Scrooge. Anyway, for this bottle of Merlot, Sparky Anderson pays $18, which was a lot more money in those days than it is now. Everything's gotten so expensive.
Especially if you want something with a severed finger in it.
Aye.
I'm scared.
You don't have to go in with us.
Yeah, I do. Chief Huey Foster arranged this visit for both of us, so I gotta be there with you.
if you insist. You're looking well.
I feel well.
Hard to believe it's been 9 years.
Maybe for you, seems like 100 to me.
Yeah, I guess you have a lot of time on your hands here.
I've put it to good use. I earned a correspondence degree in law, though being a felon, I'll never be admitted to the bar.
A law degree? That's impressive.
I've filed appeals on my behalf and for other prisoners. You wouldn't believe how many inmates here were wrongly convicted.
All of them?
Nearly all of them, yes. At times it's difficult not to despair over the amount of injustice in this society.
Where there's cake, there's hope, and there's always cake. My dad used to say that.
Well, I like cake of course, but I'd rather have justice. In addition to getting the law degree, I've learned to speak fluent German because it's the language of justice.
Why is German the language of justice?
I don't really know. I heard an actor say that in an old World War II movie. It made sense to me at the time.
Du bist heute Morgen ziemlich schön.
You are quite beautiful this morning.
You always were a charmer.
Am I receiving compliments from the wife of the man who took out my marbles?
I'm sorry about that, but you really didn't give me any choice.
There's plenty of blame to go around. What's done is done. I don't live in the past. I live for the future.
I limp on cold days.
Don't be a whiner. You didn't give me any choice either.
I suppose that's true.
I mean, if we are going to get into a blame game, I hold the trump card. After all, you killed my father, and you didn't name your firstborn son after him like you promised. Annie, Lucy, Andrew. But no Konrad.
How do you know their names?
They were in the newspaper last year after all the hoo-ha.
By hoo-ha, do you mean his attempt to kill us and kidnap our Andrew?
Relax, relax. There's no Hatfield and McCoy thing between us. He could be a difficult man.
Maybe difficult isn't descriptive enough.
Tell it like it is, girl, and it would know better than me. Maybe you remember 9 years ago, when we were in the sub-cellar of the bank, when everything was fun and hadn't turned ugly yet. I told you that I had a cold and loveless childhood.
You did. You said exactly that.
He tried to be a good father to me, but it wasn't in him. Do you know all the years I've been in here, he never sent me a Christmas card or a little money for candy.
That's hard.
But you can't possibly be here to converse about how much of a dirtbag he was.
Actually,
before you tell me why you're here, let's agree upon terms.
What terms?
You obviously want something important from me. You didn't go through all this trouble just to apologize for castrating me. Though I appreciate that you did. If you get something from me, it's only fair that I be compensated.
Maybe you'd better hear what we want first.
No, I'd prefer to get the basic terms established. Then if I feel I'm getting the short end of the trade, we can revise the deal.
All right.
First off, I'd like to receive a birthday card every August 9th and a Christmas card every year. Most of the guys here get cards now and then, but I never do.
2 cards.
And not junk cards or those ones that are supposed to be funny, but really are just mean. Something from Hallmark with a nice sentiment.
Hallmark.
The library here is underfunded, and we can only receive books directly from a publisher or a bookstore, not from individuals. I'd very much like for you to arrange for a bookstore to send me every new paperback by Constance Hammersmith.
I know those books. She writes about a detective with neurofibromatosis. He goes all around San Francisco wearing a hooded cloak.
They're fabulous books. He's like the Elephant Man, and nobody ever loved him. He's always been ridiculed, an outcast, so he shouldn't give a crap about anyone. But he does. He helps people in trouble when no one else will.
She writes 2 books a year. You'll get them both as soon as they hit paperback.
Lastly, I'm allowed to have a cash account. I'd like a little money for candy, gum, and now and then cheese doodles.
The money's going to be a problem.
I don't want much. Like $50 a month, or $40. And not forever, just as long as seems fair. Life in here without money is hell.
When we explain why we're here, You'll see why we can't give you money, but I'm sure we can arrange for a third party to send you an allowance, if we're all discreet about it.
Gee, that would be wonderful. When you're reading Constance Hammersmith, you've got to have Hershey's bars. Life is so limited. It's not right being made to live with so many restrictions, so few pleasures. The way people treat me, you'd think I'd killed 1,000 people.
You did kill several.
But not 1,000. And the courthouse tower fell on an old lady. I didn't intend to waste her. Fair punishment ought to be proportionate to the crime.
If only it were.
So now I'm curious. Why are you here?
Syndactyly.
What are you talking about?
You were born with 5 fused toes on your left foot.
He told you, didn't he?
No, we didn't learn about your Syndactyly until a week ago.
3 fingers were fused on your left hand.
Only the skin was fused, not the bone. But he told me there was nothing to be done about it. That I would have to live with it. The great Beezo. He told me the way I walked, hobbled by 5 fused toes on 1 foot, gave me a natural advantage as a clown. When I did a funny walk, it was authentic, he said. People couldn't see my foot, just the funny way I walked. But they could see my hand. I can't always keep it in a pocket. My mother had been perfection, but I was not. My father even mailed pictures of my Syndactyly to that swine of swines, Virgilio Vivacemente.
Why?
To show him that his perfect daughter had not produced an aerialist. With my foot, how could I walk the high wire? With my hand, how could I switch from trapeze to trapeze in midair?
When did you have surgery?
When I was 8, I came down with a bad case of strep throat. The great Beezo had to take me to a clinic. A doctor there said that with the bone not involved, separating fused digits would be easy. After the surgery, I tried hard to manage as a great clown like my father before me, but I was lousy. From the moment my toes and fingers were separated, I knew.
You were born an aerialist.
Yes, secretly I took some instruction. Too late by then, one has to begin practicing even younger. Besides, in the eyes of that talking sewer sludge Virgilio, I was tainted with clown blood. He'd pull all the strings in his web to prevent me from performing.
So eventually, you decided to throw your life away in a frenzy of vengeance.
Might as well die if I can't fly.
The crazy story he told you about the night of your birth, the assassin nurse and the doctor bribed by Virgilio to kill your mother, all that is a grotesque lie.
I sorta suspected it might be.
But you still came back to Snow Village to kill a bunch of people and blow things up.
It was something to do. The hatred was something to hold on to. I didn't have anything else.
Slow Thursday night, so let's blow up a town. You learned German. You could have become a teacher or a translator.
All my life I'd never been able to please the great Beezo, and there was no one else who wanted me to please him. Being a teacher wouldn't have impressed him. But taking extreme vengeance for my mother's death, that's definitely something my father loved me for.
Really? How do you know that? He never sent you a Christmas card.
I'll grant you he was never a good father, but I know he loved me for what I did.
I'm sure he did, Punch. I think you did what you had to do.
If things hadn't gone all wrong that night in Snow Village, you and I might have had a future together instead of you and him.
Syndactyly.
There's that word again. How did you know about that?
I wasn't born with hand problems. But I had 3 fused toes on my right foot, and 2 on my left.
What kind of rotten hospital was that? I should have blown that up too.
We both had fused digits because we're brothers. We're twins.
Try that on some dope who's never seen himself in a mirror.
We don't look alike because we're fraternal twins, not identical twins.
What the heck are you talking about?
I think we should bring her in.
This is Nurse Charlene Coleman, who brought me to Rudy Talk 29 years ago. We brought her along to tell you how it is between me and you.
You were a red-faced, pinch-faced, fussy little bundle, but you turned out a kind, if handsome, that breaks hearts without even trying.
Now what's all this nonsense Jimmy Tock's telling me about us being fraternal twins?
Your mother was sweet as a child, but fragile. When I say your mother was fragile, I don't mean just because she died giving birth. which she did, though the good doctor tried everything to save her. Her spirit was fragile too, someone seemed to have broken it. She was a frightened little thing, afraid of more than just childbirth. She grabbed my hand and didn't want to let go, wanted to tell me things I think, but was scared to hear herself say the words.
Get to the point.
Though your mama died, she gave birth to healthy twins. You were the smaller and Jimmy was the bigger.
So we are brothers. Me and Jimmy Tock, well, more like Jimmy Beezo.
I don't want to be a Beezo.
Kinda late on that.
My name is Jimmy Tock, and it will stay that way for the rest of my life, because my family loves me.
Hang on, if Jimmy is not the biological son of Rudy Tock, then what happened to the real Tock child?
Maddie Tock was in difficult labor just like Natalie Beezo, except Maddie lived and her baby died. Her final contraction was so painful she passed out and never knew her child was stillborn. I put the precious little bundle and put him in a bassinet in the creche, so she wouldn't see his tiny body when she woke, and wouldn't have to see him at all if she decided not to.
Then Dr. McDonald went to the expectant father's lounge to console Konrad Beezo for the loss of his wife and Rudy Tock for the loss of his child.
There was a mean virus going around that night. Lois Hansen was the only other delivery nurse available. We heard Konrad Beezo shouting profanity at the doctor, and we both thought of the twins for different reasons. Lois thought the sight of the babies would calm Beezo down, but I'd come off a marriage to a cruel man, knowing I can't put out the rage by kindness. My only thought was to get the babies safe. Lois took Punchinello down the hall toward the lounge where she got shot to death, but I went the other way with Jimmy and hid out. When I discovered the nurse and doctor dead, I realized I was the only living being who knew Maddie's baby was born dead and Natalie Beezo had given birth to twin boys. I didn't want Maddie and Rudy to have a tragedy on their hands, nor did I want Jimmy to be known as the son of the murderer. I knew that Rudy and Maddie were good honest people, and I knew the love they would shower on their boy, so I did what I did, and Lord Jesus forgive me if he thinks I played God.
So what happened to the real you?
Charlene had a huge straw purse. She wrapped the dead baby in a soft white cloth that night, put him in the straw bag, and took it from the hospital to her minister.
I'm Baptist born and raised, one of the joyful denominations. I'm a Sunday go-to-meeting girl, dresses better for church than for Saturday night, from a family likes to praise the Lord in gospel songs. If my preacher told me I'd done a wrongful thing, I would have undone it, I suppose. But if he had his doubts, compassion swamped his judgment. Our church has its own graveyard, so my preacher and me, we found a pretty corner there for Maddie's baby. Buried him with prayer, just the two of us, and about a year later, I bought a little headstone. On it were the words, "Here lies baby T. God loved him so much he called him home at birth."
My mom and dad went to that cemetery once. We saw that headstone that said those exact words.
Did you now? That's real interesting. Now I think I told all I have to tell. I think I'll leave you three alone now.
Could that Charlene person get in trouble with the law because of what she did?
Only if my parents wanted to press charges, and they don't.
Jimmy, you sometimes wonder if you're real.
What do you mean?
You never doubted being real, have you? I have, because sometimes I walk down the street and it's like no one sees me. Or maybe I wake up in the night convinced there's nothing out there beyond my window, just darkness, a vacuum, and I'm afraid to open the drapes and look, afraid I see a perfect emptiness, and that when I turn from the window the room will be gone too, and I'll cry out but won't make a sound, just float there with no sense of touch, no taste, or smell, deaf and blind, the world gone as if it never was, me with no body, no heartbeat. But I can't stop thinking furiously and frantically about what I don't have and what I want, about what I do have, but want to be free of. Just painful memories, and I wasn't even real.
I never thought of that before.
Why did you come here?
We came to tell you that you're real, and you can prove it to yourself once and for all.
How?
By saving our daughter's life. You're the only one who can, and that's as real as anything can get.
Your daughter?
Annie will be 6 years old in less than 2 months. If she lives that long, that is.
Pretty. I'll never have children.
She had nephroblastoma.
Sounds like a grunge band.
It's cancer of the kidneys. The tumors grow very rapidly. If you don't catch them early, they spread to the lungs, liver, and brain.
Good thing she was diagnosed in time. They took out both kidneys and followed up with radiation, chemotherapy. She's free of cancer now, but because they took out her kidneys, she's been on hemodialysis, 4-hour sessions 3 times a week. If she's allergic to the cleansing solution, then she probably won't make it.
Well, just give her one of your kidneys, why don't you? You have to be an acceptable match for her.
Thanks to your father, I only have one.
Then one of yours.
I would have been on the operating table already if I could. When they tested me to do a transplant compatibility profile, they discovered I have hemangiomas of both kidneys.
You're going to die too.
Hemangiomas are benign tumors. You can live with them all your life, but they make me unsuitable as a donor.
Sign the kid up on a transplant list like everyone else does.
We could wait a year, maybe longer, to get a suitable match. Lucy and Andrew are too young to donate.
A year isn't so long. I didn't get surgery for Syndactyly until I was 8. Where were you then?
You're not listening, Punchinello. Annie has to be on dialysis in the meantime, but she can't be.
I might not be a suitable match.
Of course you will.
It'll be a head-in-the-bucket thing again. It always is.
Not this time, Punchinello. Don't you remember what Nurse Coleman explained to you? You're my brother, which makes Annie your niece.
You may be my brother, but where were you for the past 9 years when the justice system crucified me? Just like Pontius Pilate, you washed your hands of me.
Sooner than later, anaphylactic shock will kill Annie. We can't risk it again. We're in a corner now. She's only got...
Annie's only got a couple days.
So it always comes down to good old Punchinello, who was supposed to be the greatest clown in all history, who was supposed to be the greatest aerialist of his age, who was supposed to avenge his mother's death. Punchinello Beezo failed to be even a good clown, was not allowed to be an aerialist, and he lost his cojones for trying to avenge the death of his mother. And that same failure is being tasked with saving the life of little Annie Tock, whose name rightly should be Annie Beezo, by the way. Just forget about it, Jimmy Tock. Once she dies, you can bury her in the Baptist cemetery beside the nameless stillborn whose life you stole.
Please don't be selfish.
Get out. Go home.
You don't need to say much, Jimmy. He's a very difficult man to deal with.
I just wanted to save our daughter's life.
The photo. The rotten dirtbag still has Annie's photo.
Now, Lorrie, we shouldn't say things like that to him. He is my brother. That photo belongs to us.
What about the cards?
What cards?
On my birthday and at Christmas.
Yeah, right.
Real Hallmark, our deal.
We don't have any deal.
Does this mean no candy money either?
And no cheese doodles.
What about the Constance Hammersmith paperbacks?
Give me the photo.
We need a few more minutes of privacy, please. Did you bring a medical release to sign?
I have 3 copies in my purse drawn up by a good attorney.
When would we do it?
Tomorrow morning. The hospital in Denver is ready for us. They just need 12 hours notice.
And the deal we made?
It's still yours if you want it.
I love those detective stories.
And Hershey's bars.
But when we negotiated, I didn't know I'd be giving up a kidney, which is a lot to ask for considering you've already gotten both my testicles. There's one more thing I want. This is a private room, no listening devices, because inmates usually meet here with their attorneys.
What do you want?
Can the two of you come a little closer? Once Annie has my kidney, I want you to kill that scab on Satan's butt, Virgilio Vivacemente. Make him suffer and let him know I'm the one who sent you. Make sure he's deader than any man has ever been dead.
Sure.
When this is all done and Annie's well, I'd like it if you'd bring her here to see me once in a while. Christmas at least.
No, you'll never be the smallest part of her life.
You're some piece of work.
You scared the crap out of me when you said that Annie will never be a part of his life.
He knew we'd never allow that. If we agreed, he'd know we were lying. Then he'd have been sure you were lying about killing Vivacemente too. But now he thinks you'll really do it because... Look what you did to the great Beezo. If he thinks you'll do it, he'll keep his end of the bargain. You're not really gonna kill Vivacemente, are you?
No, I'm not.
Good. If you ever decide to turn homicidal, talk to me. I'll give you a list.
Even if I was going to, I am certain that Punchinello will back out of the deal. This is the 4th of my 5 terrible days.
It was already pretty terrible there for a while.
Not terrible enough, there's worse coming. There's gotta be, judging by the past.
The power of negative thinking.
Mommy
Annie,
says
thank
you're
goodness.
okay.
Oh, thank the
Annie.
stars above.
Thank you.
No thanks necessary, bro. I'm looking forward to birthday cards, candy, mystery novels, and one snake-hearted aerialist tortured with red-hot pliers and dismembered alive. I mean, if it works for you to do it that way.
I'll figure it out.
Okay, that's fine. I sure wish I could be there with you.
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Now back to the cell I go. Keep in touch, will ya?
Of course. It's the middle of the month. It's probably the paper boy. Let me check.
Jimmy Tock?
That's me.
For you.
I don't want it.
But it's for you.
No thanks.
From me to you.
It isn't from you. Who sent you with this?
Just take the freaking box. If I have to go back to the car with it, he'll beat the snot out of me.
Who will beat you?
This is taking too long. He's going to want to know what we talked about. I'm not supposed to chat with you. Why are you doing this to me? Why do you hate me? Why are you being so mean? Prepare to be enchanted.
What do you think is in the box?
I don't know, but worst case scenario, it's a bomb and he's gonna blow me up.
It's not a bomb. It's someone's head cut off and stuffed in a box with a clue in its teeth.
What?
That's stupid. A clue to what? A clue to who sent the head, dummy. If the guy who sent the head wants us to figure out who sent it, why doesn't he just write his name on the clue between the teeth of his stupid head? If there's a head, I'm gonna barf.
There's not a head in the box, sweet cakes. There's no bomb either. They don't deliver bombs in flashy silver and dread limousines.
Could be snakes, though.
How about we just open it together and see what's inside?
Wow. We're rich.
This isn't our money.
Then whose is it?
I don't know, but it's bad money for sure. We can't keep it.
It seems like there's about 25 packets of what looks like 120s each. If I'm right, this must be $50,000.
But look what else is in the box.
Please accept this as a token of my esteem and as proof of my sincerity. I request the honor of a most cordial meeting at the Halloway farm. The precise location will be obvious upon your arrival. Signed, Vivacemente. This is evil money. I'm going to put it back into the box, and then we're all going to wash our hands with a lot of soap and water so hot it hurts a little.
Jimmy, are you sure we gotta dress like this?
It's a cordial meeting, Lorrie. I think it right we dress for the occasion.
Right. What are we gonna tell the kids about this?
Don't worry, we'll just consider it a momentary absence from the household. I don't want to scare them.
Who's gonna take care of them while we're away?
We'll just drop them off with Rudy and Maddie. They're just on the way.
Okay. Great. You got your gun? I do.
I got it too. You know, Lorrie, maybe it's not a very good idea if you come along. Just wait with the kids while I go to meet Vivacemente.
Remember what happened to Punchinello's testicles? If you try to keep me from going with you, you'll discover that Punch got off easy.
Oh, good point. And we're not getting the cops involved either.
Nope, that's a bad idea, bringing the cops in on this. He's done nothing wrong so far. We'd have a difficult time convincing a jury that a gift of $50,000 constituted a threatening gesture. Besides, whatever Vivacemente's intentions, he would climb up in front of the cops and later go after what he wanted more discreetly.
Okay, it's settled then. Let's just leave everything out in the open between us.
Vivacemente. Big top, big show, big fun. Big deal.
Big trouble. Maybe we're misjudging Virgilio.
If Konrad Beezo thought he was a monster, then he's probably a saint, because when was anything Konrad said ever less than full-on nuts?
Exactly. Same argument for Punchinello. But on the other hand, he gave our daughter his kidney. I don't want to take any chances though. Let's just give him the bucks and get out.
The Flying Vivacementes fly by you.
Of course you know who I am.
We've got a pretty good idea.
In every corner of the world, everyone knows who I am. Many years ago, the Flying Vivacementes became stars of such worldwide renown that I was able to buy the circus of which I had once been an employee. And now today there are 3 Vivacemente circuses playing at all times in every significant venue in the world. Aside from us aerialists, we've got elephants. Many elephants. Prides of lions. Hordes of tigers. And of course every circus must have clowns to draw the weak-minded and silly little children.
With that taken into account, you probably don't have as many clowns as other circuses do.
We have all the clowns we need and more. But no one comes primarily for the clowns.
Lorrie and me, all our lives we're crazy about clowns.
Or is it that all our lives clowns are crazy about us?
Crazy is in there somewhere.
Our biggest draw is always the immortal Flying Vivacementes, the greatest circus family in all history. In all 3 of my shows, every member of every aerialist troupe is a Vivacemente, related by blood and by talent that makes lesser performances with lesser performers weep with jealousy. I am the father of some, the spiritual father of all. That is why I have asked you here, that is why I have given you that spectacular gift.
The $50,000, what does that have to do with us?
You can have it, but I have just one request. Your son.
Andrew? You can have him once you're in hell.
No need to overreact there. Andrew. What kind of name is that? He'll have a better name. If I am going to shape the boy into the greatest circus star of his generation, I must begin instructing him before his 5th birthday.
You will not change his name, and you will not raise him off our hands to be an aerialist. Even if you did, he has no talent for it.
He must. He has Vivacemente blood. He's my Natalie's grandson.
If you know that, then you also know he's Konrad Beezo's grandson too. Surely you'd be the first to admit he's too much clown for the high wire.
He is not tainted. I've studied the films of him. He's a natural.
What do you mean you've seen films of him, you stalker?
People do not sell their children.
Prepared to be surprised. I myself have bought the children of certain Vivacemente cousins in Europe, whose family lines were strong enough to produce fine aerialists. I have bought some from the cradle, some from the age of 2 and 3, but always before the 5th birthday.
We refuse. Take that box and shove it up your butt.
How about 75,000?
No.
100,000?
Stop.
115,000?
Enough is enough.
122,500, and that's my final offer. I must have this special boy. He's my last chance, my best chance, to create another like me. The blood of aerialists is concentrated in him as never before. If I had known in 1974 or any time during the years immediately after that Natalie had given birth to twins, I'd have come for you. I would have brought you back or rescued you one way or another. I always get what I want. But I thought I had only one son and that the vicious Beezo had fled with him.
You aren't my father even in the sense that you might call yourself the spiritual father of everyone in your troop. Punchinello and I aren't in your troop, and we're not your sons in any sense. We're technically your grandsons. But I don't accept even that relationship. I deny you the right to be my grandfather. I refuse you. I renounce you. I repudiate you.
Konrad Beezo wasn't able to procreate. I wanted to concentrate the aerialist genes as they had never before been concentrated. But she fled me for Beezo and denied me what was mine. Natalie was my daughter, but I am your grandfather, and your father.
You incestuous swine of swines.
Because I'm your grandfather, and father, Andrew is Natalie's grandson, making him my grandson and great-grandson. My dream has been delayed one generation, but now it will soon come to pass. If you think I can't kill the two of you as well as Rudy and Maddie and get away with it, you're wrong. Once you're all dead, I'll dismember the four of you, marinate your remains in gasoline, burn them, urinate on the ashes, put the wet ashes in a bucket, take them to a lovely farm I own, and stir them into the muddy wallow in the corner of a pig pen. Then I'll take all three of your children at no cost whatsoever. They'll be taken to an estate I maintain in Argentina. There I will train Andrew and perhaps Lucy to be the finest aerialists of their generation, and perhaps Annie as well, if she is too old at 7. Well, she will have other uses. Lose your lives and all your children or sell Andrew to me.
Even if we had many other boys in the family, Andrew will never fall into your hands, nor would any of the other boys.
Little Rowena will be our last child. We'll never have the 5.
That's fine with me.
You would not believe what's been going on in the ICU. An elderly woman named Edna Carter insisted that a baby named Rowena would be born in minutes. That Rowena would be 18 inches long and weigh 8 pounds on the nose.
That's the exact height and weight of this Rowena.
Edna insisted I write down these 5 dates before she finally croaked.
5 terrible days?
That's not what she said. She said 5 glorious days. Why did you think it'd be 5 terrible days?
No reason.
You think this means something?
Probably. Rowena. This is the world. This is your life. Prepare to be enchanted.